Welcome to the Inland Sports Show. Jeff Gorham, I'm Pep Fernandez, live and amplified here at Teen Vision TV 16. We are getting ready to hoop it up. I know we talk football all the time.
All the time. Every single week we talk high school, college, pro football, but we're ready to talk some hoops.
A lot of basketball in this show. A little bit later in this very show as well, we're going to turn back the clock. Some vintage baseball. The Riverside Smudge Pots will be in the house.
Like Ty Cobb, those kind of guys?
Like Honus Wagner, Ty Cobb.
Yeah, nice.
Because I don't know a whole lot about them. I think it's probably they play the rules of and dress like, I want to say the 1890s maybe, or the turn of the century, around 1900. So
sounds good. So it's definitely not a juiced baseball.
No, they barely use mitts.
Yeah,
it's like a piece of leather. So we got the Riverside Smudge Pots in the house as well. We'll talk some high school football later in the show. And then also, I went to the Damontae Kazee football camp at Cajon High School. Everybody was there.
Every NFL player seemed like they were in attendance. You got a lot of video. I watched it all. It looked great. I can't wait to see what you got.
Damontae Kazee was there. I'm sure you're going to leave some names out, but the guys that you're going to hear from are Kenny Clark, who's a good friend of ours of the Green Bay Packers. Talked to Kenny Clark. Talked to Alexander Mattison, who's done our show a bunch of times.
Yes.
Minnesota Vikings running back out of San Bernardino High School. And also Kenjon Barner. We got a longer interview with Kenjon in our show, because Kenjon Barner made headlines recently because he got a Super Bowl ring from the New England Patriots. And long story short, the Patriots had him, then they cut him, and then they re-signed him, and then they cut him, and they re-signed him again, and then they cut him. So Kenjon Barner from Moreno Valley, the pride of Notre Dame High School, Jeff, he wasn't on their Super Bowl team.
No, but he's got 2 Super Bowl rings to add to his trophy case.
Yeah, so the Patriots, out of the blue, sent him a Super Bowl ring.
Very, very cool.
So a lot of big national sports outlets got wind of that, and he was making some headlines there. So we got an exclusive interview with Kenjon Barner as well. But first things first, we're going to hoop it up real hard because we got breaking news out of UC Riverside. Jeff is out there. You're working the camps?
I am working.
He's working the camps.
I am working basketball camp right now as we speak. We just finished day 2. Great camp. A lot of campers there. I did have a chance to talk to David Patrick, and he revealed his schedule to me.
Nobody knows this.
Nobody in
the world but you knows this.
We are going to reveal who they are playing. I'm not going to give you the dates until later on. We'll post on the internet. But I will say this. They are opening against a Big Ten opponent, the University of Nebraska.
The Cornhuskers.
The Cornhuskers.
On the road?
On the road. First game of the year. I'm going to give you all their road games.
Okay.
Then they're going to play a Pac-12 opponent, Washington State.
On the road?
On the road. Then they're going to play 2 Mountain West teams. They're going to play San Jose State, and then they will play the Air Force at Air Force. So that takes care of the Mountain West. They're going to play Sacramento State in Sacramento State, Pacific at Pacific, and then UC Riverside is going to have their own tournament this year, kind of shared with Pacific. They're going to play a game up at Pacific, and then they're going to play 2 or 3 home games.
Wait, is that around Thanksgiving?
Right around
last year, UOP had the tournament.
So it will be right around that time. UC Riverside is going to have more home games this year. They're not going to be road warriors like last year. We were everywhere last year.
I'm still jet lagged.
It is going to be a great schedule. Very, very accommodating to UC Riverside, and we're going to get to see them play a lot more at home this season.
Nebraska, Washington State, I'm fired up about it. So David Patrick, DP, is really busy, but after the 4th of July holiday, we're going to hopefully get him in studio before he leaves for Australia, right? Or no, not even Australia.
No, he is going to Hong Kong. Remember, he's one of the coaches of the Australian national team. They're going to play in Hong Kong this year, and then next year they're going to go to Japan to play for that gold medal, he says, hopefully in the next Olympics.
Because Australia's pretty good.
They're very, very
NBA
good.
Guys, right?
They've got his godson Ben Simmons. They've got.
Oh, is he on the team?
Of course, he's on the team. They've got some dudes. They've got Thon Maker. I think will be on the national team the following year. And
Patty Mills is
on the team. So they've got
Bogut. I don't know if he's still.
No, I think Bogut might be a little too old, but they do have a good core of young group, and he does think that they will medal in this next the World Championships coming up.
So breaking news, you heard it here first. UC UCR, again, I'm trying to go off the top of my head. Nebraska, Washington State, Sac State, Pacific. Who am I missing? Air Force.
Air Force at Air Force.
That was a great trip.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So it's going to be a very good schedule for UCR this year.
So breaking news right now. Just be happy you're watching the Inland Sports Show live because we had it here first. Now, California Baptist men's basketball. It's funny, Jeff. We were at San Manuel Stadium this time last week.
That's right.
Doing our show from the field at San Manuel Stadium, and we were talking about the UCR schedule a little bit. And we're like, you know what? CBU should be releasing their schedule right about now. Was it later that night or the next morning?
It was actually that night, I believe, they released the schedule. But they've got themselves a pretty nice one as well. They're going to play a lot of home games at their beautiful, beautiful arena.
Oh, look at Rick Croy. He and DP are good friends. Probably the two best dressed guys. Like, they always look put together. You know what I mean? Like,
they're fit guys. Look at them. They are fit.
They are fit guys. So CBU's going to have 20 of their 31 games at home at the Event Center. And Jeff, we're finding out very, very quickly the Event Center at CBU is not an easy place to win. You just can't walk in there and think you're going to get a W against the Lancers.
No, in fact, we saw them when they opened up the WAC conference play, beating New Mexico State, who has been in the NCAA tournament the last 2 years, beat them to start that season. Very, very tough place to play. Remember, UC Irvine struggled to get a win against
barely.
Versus CBU.
Barely. So 20 of the 31 games at home. They're coming off a 16-win season. And I read this, and this is pretty impressive. They had the 4th best home attendance for all of the Division I programs in Southern California. So can you guess who number 1 was in terms of attendance, men's basketball attendance?
San Diego State, of course.
San Diego State, number 1.
Of course, the show. It's always every single game it's packed, and great place to go to VA House Arena and watch games. So, but no, that's very impressive.
And CBU was 4th.
Yeah, I mean, you got
a lot of schools.
There's a lot of Division I schools out here, and you don't realize it. You got University of San Diego. You've got all of the schools basically in the WCC or in Southern California.
Yeah.
And so that is a very, very, very good standard for CBU basketball.
And road games, the Lancers, Rick Croy and the Lancers going on the road to play the Texas Longhorns.
That's tough.
The Cal Golden Bears. And they're going to repay that favor with the Eaters. They're going to go to UC Irvine this season. So those are 3 really tough road games. UC Irvine should have been a Sweet 16 team. I mean, they were that close.
They were that good. And honestly, if you look at them, when is UCLA going to be on that schedule? When I want to see CBU play UCLA. We saw UCLA.
It's a matter of time, don't you think?
It's a matter of time. You got to give them a shot. You got to give them a shot there. UCLA, CBU is coming after you.
I'd rather see San Diego State at this point, right? No offense to the Bruins, but UCLA is not UCLA anymore.
That's true. And San Diego State has our guy.
Yeah, and that goes into our next point. And we're talking about where would Lamont Butler from Riverside Poly end up? And Jeff, we got our answer. I know it's only a verbal commitment, but we got our answer.
No, he's going to be playing at VA House and the show, playing for Coach Brian Dutcher, one of my good friends. And I'll tell you what, couldn't happen to a better guy, a better student athlete of the game of basketball. Lamont Butler, a very, very, very good basketball player.
Something about the Aztecs recruiting hard in the IE. I mean, obviously the big name that we all think of is Kawhi Leonard, but they've had some success with a lot of guys, right?
They've had a lot. I mean, you got you've had Marcus Slaughter, who was an All-American out of John W. North High School. You got Matt Mitchell right now, who's playing over there. So they have been loaded with IE guys, and Coach Dutcher is just following in that same footsteps. And they're going to be very good with that young point guard.
We got some highlights of the Riverside Poly Bears in action because Riverside Poly, they were at a summer tournament. I think it was in Las Vegas. I had it written down.
It was in Arizona, actually.
Or Arizona, the Section 7 or something like that.
Section 7.
And they won it, didn't they?
They did. They won their division. Coach Patrick and his staff were out there. This was the last
DP
week.
was out there?
DP was the entire staff from UC Riverside. And this is really the last weekend where the college coaches can see players play with their high school teams. And that really does say a lot about a player when you can see how he interacts with his coaches. AAU is a whole different animal, but it was great for Riverside Poly to go and play in such a very prestigious tournament, do so well, and Coach Dotson has those guys playing on all cylinders once again.
And he's probably just really happy. He's got Lamont Butler, Evan Oliver, a couple of those guys back again. They're going to be, there's Jake Marisnik. What's he doing in that?
Who knows?
Houston Astros. But yeah, Lamont Butler, congratulations to him, verbally committing to San Diego State. Very exciting. We try not to get too excited about verbal commitments because we've seen time and time again that a football player, baseball player, whoever, they'll say, I'm verbally committing to so-and-so, and then signing day comes and they end up somewhere else. But Coach Dutcher, this sounds probably like it's a lock with Lamont Butler.
I think it's a lock, and I think it's a great situation for him, a great conference. He's going to get to play with some good scores, and he gets to play in the best arena really on the West Coast.
So smooth. If you haven't seen Lamont Butler in person, just so smooth. Makes it look so easy.
Yes.
I guess he's a point at the next level, right? He can do a lot of things very well, but he's a point guard, right? Yeah.
Definitely a point guard.
So good. All right, when we come back, we're going to turn back the clock at least 100 years. We're going to go back like at least a century.
Are we going to be in black and white?
We might be. We might be in black. There wasn't even TV back then.
No.
It might be a radio call.
No.
It's the ball far to the left. When we come back, the Riverside Smudge Pots in the house on the Inland Sports Show.
What's going on, guys? This is Ray Bass from Boost Performance Training. You're watching the Inland Sports Show with the one and only Pep Fernandez.
The Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Spoiled. Quick, quality oil change. Spoil yourself and your car at Spoiled. Kin Sporting Goods. They have all of your sporting gear needs, Letterman's jackets, and team uniforms. And Boost Performance Training with Coach Ray Bass. Athletes of all levels and all sports are going to Boost Performance Training in Corona.
Thank God, first of all. I thank the great people that I've got around me that help support me, the people that work for me. As I started, if it wasn't for the people around me, we probably wouldn't be here right now, but I've got a great staff. I've got great people that do stuff for us outside the store, and we've been very, very fortunate. Our service is impeccable, and we just keep trying to get better every year. We can do online stuff for your teams, as well as, like I said, the screen printing, the embroidery. We also have 3 women that do extra sewing for us, like tackle tool on uniforms, or the bling or rhinestones for different shirts for the ladies. That's why we have certain racks just for certain schools, and the fun about that is that it turns into other schools that may come in here that aren't as close, that we can do stuff for them as well. We've had very, very good customers throughout the years, and it's just been a blast.
We focus on the customer here. Believe it or not, that is the biggest thing for customers on an oil change. They just want the convenience of coming in, driving in, getting it done, and driving out. We just greet them, get them going, and they're done in about 10 minutes or so. We don't push any sales on them. We do the oil change, and I think that's what sets us apart is our customer service. Vacuumed and cleaned your windshield for you as well. Everything's looking pretty good. You come into us one time, believe me, we'll spoil you and you'll be ready to come back the next time.
draft note. So CBU, California Baptist, has a stud guard named Milan Aqua, who's actually best friends with Lonzo Ball. Just happens to be. He actually declared for the NBA draft a couple, I think it was like 2 months ago, pulled his name out. He's going back to CBU.
Oh, wow.
He will not be in the draft. Maybe next year. He's that good. In fact, Patrick, he's a Washington State transfer.
Wow.
He lit it up.
Patrick likes him.
Lit it up last year at CBU. He's the real deal. You should go watch him.
All right.
He's the real deal. Real quick, they just released their men's basketball schedule, playing the Texas Longhorns, Cal Golden Bears. They got a serious schedule. They got 20 home dates.
Wow.
They've got a great schedule, big time D1 program now. Like it's
what that means?
It's growing, man.
It's an opportunity. We're gonna use some games going
Texas,
down. You beat Cal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Oh yeah.
I like it.
Straight to the lead story on SportsCenter, right? If you knock off Texas or Cal, something like that. So
Sweet.
awesome schedule for the Lancers. Hashtag Lance Up.
Inland Sports.
All right, welcome back to the Inland Sports Show. We're turning the clock way back with the Riverside Smudge Pots in the house. You guys are blowing up on social media. I saw the uniforms. I saw the equipment. I had to get you guys here on the show. And let me get this right. So I'll start on the end. Tyler the Traveler, Peacock. Daniel the Dazzler, Favela. Did I say it right? Favela. And Chris the Curator, Johnson. So no, don't adjust your set. This is in black and white right now because we are. What time period are we talking about?
We're playing 1886 baseball. So 1886 Spalding rules.
So how different, Chris, is the rules that we have today, let's say Major League Baseball, to 1886? Is it a big drastic difference?
1886 was kind of the benchmark because that's when it went from going underhand, the pitching, to overhand. Kind of similar, but there's different things like the pitch count. So 7 balls to a walk. Foul tips do not count as strikes. So if you imagine you're the pitcher out there, you have a 20 pitch at bat. So it's to the benefit of the batter or the striker at that point. You call your zone when you come up to bat. So you say, I want the high zone or the low zones.
Really?
Lead to waist to, so you can throw a pitch up here and it'll be called the strike. So a little bit different with that regard.
So Daniel, how do you find umpires who know the rules from 1886 and maybe even just some of the players on the team? I mean, there's probably some sort of a learning curve, I would suspect, right?
There's a big learning curve. The umpires are just basically people that we know right now. So friends who want to do it and dress up in the regalia, they dress up in the time period, they're wearing the top hat, they can smoke a cigar, and they're standing behind us, behind the pitcher. I'm pitching, and they stand behind us and they call balls and strikes, and it's really fun to see them out there. And it's a gentleman's game, so whatever the umpire says goes. You don't argue with the umpire; they could toss you out. So we don't argue with them. And then we're just people that love the game. And when we heard he was putting together a team, he contacted us, and we decided, this would be something fun we want to do. And we had tryouts that people came to. And how many people would you say?
Yeah, we had like four or five people. Tyler was there.
So you guys are like the pioneers.
Yeah, our friend John, a big time, Magdaleno. It was him and I kind of getting it started, and it kind of went from there. I think going back to what Daniel was saying, the umpire, we call him the sir. And so typically in the 1886, it would have been a local, somebody like a dignitary in town, either a preacher, undertaker, or a judge that would call the game. So that's why they have that utmost respect. But yeah.
But the learning curve is really big, especially for the pitcher. We can't do a full windup. We have to pitch basically from the stretch. We get one step in order to throw. And it's not about velocity or throwing as hard as you can. It's all about location and movement is what you're trying to do. Throw a lot of junk, a lot of curveballs, a lot of change up. And it's just trying to keep them off.
That's why we call him the Dazzler. The Dazzle's out there. Somebody was calling him the Snake Charmer. We're like, no, it's the Dazzler.
Well, Tyler, let me ask you. So it sounds like it was kind of Chris leading the charge here, spearheading a lot of this stuff. When you heard about this team or heard about his idea, were you like, oh, I'm totally on board? Or were you thinking, what is he talking about?
So when I first heard about it, it was interesting. I didn't know what to expect. So then I came out the first day of tryouts, and then he started showing me some of the equipment and then kind of going over the rules or whatever. And I played baseball at Notre Dame High School, and I went off and played at a small college in Wisconsin. So when I came back, I just loved the sport, and so I went there, and I really enjoyed it. And so that's kind of how I got into it, and now I really love it. So.
And
Now,
he's our behind or the catcher.
the behinder, is that what the term they
Called
use?
the
Behind, yeah.
Yeah.
And
So he dons what they call the tools of ignorance, and especially in this league. I mean, Tyler brought some equipment with him.
So this is what the
Oh yeah, I want to see the equipment because it's obviously very
this
different
is
as well.
Pretty much all I get. So this is the glove. There's no web. So you pretty much have to try to catch it right between these two.
Don't miss, right?
And then this is the chest plate.
Does that even stop anything?
Not much. And then no shin guards, nothing like that.
No helmet.
Man's game.
You get the mask.
I get a thin little old time mask. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much all I get back there. So it's definitely interesting.
In the mitts too, like I'd say that's a driving glove.
They're like gardening mitts.
Yeah, the gardening mitts.
Try to describe it.
Weeds in those, but that's really what they used to use.
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you
Before
not
that, it was
break your hand or anything?
Yeah.
I broke my pinky. I broke my pinky already. Like the second practice, I broke my pinky. So it's hard. It's really about the fundamentals and learning how to catch with 2 hands and everything. So it's really important. And the balls we use, they're a little bit spongier.
I see. Yeah.
That's a game used one.
Okay.
This is more of a newer one. And really, while we're playing, you only play with 1 ball. So if it's a foul ball or anything like
chase
that,
it down.
you have to go chase it down, and you play with it, and it soaks up the water, gets dirty.
It is what it is, right?
It is what it is, yeah. So it's really different, and you can tell on this one that's used a little more, the seams are a little bit lower than they are in today's baseballs. So it's a lot harder to get the break on the ball or to see a little bit of movement on it.
As the Dazzler, you try to move that ball around.
Yeah.
Where do you find equipment like this?
So it's a very niche market, but a lot of people on the East Coast, it's kind of grown in popularity. Massachusetts and stuff like that. So there are vendors that make the gloves, the balls, and the uniforms are all produced by a lady back east in Connecticut. She does stuff for the movies and everything, so she kind of has a corner on that market.
Oh my gosh. So how did you come up? Well, smudge pots, obviously, because our history in citrus, I guess, but in orange, maybe to go with the orange trees and whatnot. But who came up with the uniforms? Is this exactly like kind of what they wore back in the day?
So each team in the league tries to bring back and pay tribute to the history or heritage of their city. So when we were kind of forming the team, we're like, Riverside Rain Crosses, Riverside Citrus, all these things. And then you're right, the citrus industry. So we kind of came up with it that way. Of course, the rain cross is obvious, and then just kind of grew from there, and the colors, RCC colors. So
there you
kind of connected it back to the origins. But there was actually a baseball team back in the 1800s in Riverside.
I was going to ask you, did Riverside?
Yeah, I had a team, and that's kind of what we're trying to do with the league: find cities that had teams, and it was called the Club of Riverside, which is kind of boring. So, so we took the liberty to add some little razzle dazzle to it, So,
So, and you just touched on it. There is a league. I mean, there's other teams. You actually play other cities, and
it's not just. I know we went to the Dickens Festival, and they're like, they thought we were just dressing up. I'm like, we play games with heavy. The baseball bat's 44 ounces.
So can we see that baseball bat? I mean, so that's different as well, right? Like everything about this.
35 inches minimum, 40 ounces minimum on the bat. So that's all hand turned by a guy out of Hayward, California, in a garage. So, we play teams. So we have 5 teams in our league right now. It's our first season. We have Long Beach, Redondo Beach, Crestline, and Palmdale. And Crestline. And so they kind of started the league. Wes Barca up there came down and saw that there wasn't a league and just got it going. And so next year we're going to have Laverne, and then we're also going to have Temecula, and Corona's going to have a team.
Temescal Canyon, right? That's what
it's going to be called the Temescal 10 Miners. Laverne's going to be the Lordsburg Trolleymen.
That's awesome.
It's a cool name. And then Temecula's still trying to figure out a name right now. So
you guys sell merchandise? Do you have a website with gear?
We've got
I'm
gear.
sure people are going to see this and be like, dude,
we crank these little pennants out here before the show. So we have a lot of merchandise. Our first game we had 200 fans, or what we call back then cranks, or bugs, or
bugs,
spectators. So we have a pretty good following, I would say.
Is it 9 innings, 3 outs, all that?
7 innings.
7 innings.
3 outs. But like we said, the pitch count and the no foul tip rule, that kills you.
Probably have some bug yelling from the stands, that's strike 3! No, he's not out yet, guys.
And even it's a learning curve for us too. Outs are called hands. So you got a lot of guys that are still out there going 2 outs, and it's Two hands. So there's still a lot of vocabulary that we still have to get used to using, like ground ball's a daisy cutter into the outfield, which is called the garden. So
the
those are all
the garden?
The garden, yeah. So we just got to get used to using that type of vocabulary, and some of us do, and we try and do a good job at it. But it's competitive still, I'd say, and that's the hardest thing, is taking the competitiveness out of it. Since we play in the 21st century right now, and back then it was a gentleman's game, but we want to win, so we want to represent our city, and that's what it's about.
Were you guys historian buffs for baseball before this, or has it kind of been a labor of love, like having to do research and learn more about baseball? It's like, man, this is pretty cool now that you're having to dig a little deeper. I don't know. How about you, Tyler?
I didn't really know or I don't say care, but I didn't really know too much about the history of baseball. But yeah, since Chris kind of brought me on, I have kind of been more of a student of the history and trying to learn more, or as much as I can. That way I'm able to kind of communicate to other people kind of what we do and kind of how it was back then, to kind of show what we're doing now. So I for one, I didn't know too much about the history or the origins of baseball, but I've come to learn a lot.
And this is the first season, correct, of the Smudge Pots? How has it been so far? How has the reception been? Because I know you guys go to community events, right, and try to get the name out a little bit. How's it been so far?
Yeah, man, we did an ice cream social at the Heritage House. What else have we done? We did the Dickens Festival. So we like to do the social aspect, teaching the game. We did like a little small clinic at the Heritage House. I never thought, driving by that all the time, that we would be doing these things. The city of Riverside's been very generous. They put us out on their social media, so it's been fun. We've had a ceremonial first pitches by a former major leaguer whose son's on our team. He was on the Big Red Machine, Jim Merritt. So he threw out the first pitch on opening day.
Wow.
We had Bernie from the 66ers come out and throw out the first pitch, and we would like to have you out.
I would love to.
We have 2 more home games this Saturday.
As long as the bugs don't yell at me, I'll put it across.
Yeah, we have our next home game. It's going to be this Saturday against the Long Beach Oilers at California School for the Deaf at 1:00 p.m.
Are the games free? Like if someone's hearing about it and they want to come out?
It's all free.
It's all free, wholesome fun.
Do you encourage the cranks and the bugs to wear period style clothing? Like if they want to come out and watch the game and they got something turn of the century they want to wear?
Yes, definitely. So we've had a few people out in attire or the garb of the era, but my sister does the concessions and she's wearing like a Victorian dress, and so it's fun. Hopefully we'll get to that where more people kind of.
I mean, do you have nachos or do you have like peanuts? I mean, is it like 1886 food or is it?
It's peanuts, Cracker Jack, stuff like that.
Is it really?
Old time soda.
Yeah,
we got the old time soda going, sarsaparilla.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So where do you guys go from here? Like you said, maybe bring more teams into the league, getting the name out there in the local community. It sounds like you've got a pretty good fan base as it is.
Yeah, I think we're talking, this is probably down the road, but doing a vintage baseball festival where other teams from like Northern California, Central California, there's some teams in Arizona for them to come out here and just have like a whole tournament with vintage vendors and all that. So I think that's kind of where it's moving to. I know it's still early, it's our first year, but.
Yeah.
But there's already been a lot of interest in adding these new teams. Next year should be a good direction for us to go in. So hopefully it can grow, and I know we're talking about possibly doing divisions, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like an American League.
It's like an East and a West.
North or South.
It's getting serious. Yeah, man. It was a hard sell at first, but once people saw these unis, that kind of got people contacting us at first.
Well, like myself, you see the pictures on social media and whatnot, and you're like, man, what are they doing? What's that all about? And kind of like you said, piques people's interest about this vintage baseball league. So. Was the league already? You said the Crestline team was the first one in,
and then Redondo Beach, Wharf Rats. They were kind of an early team to the league, and we were the last ones to join. So I tried joining a team, and they said, "No, we're full." I'm like, "Oh, let's start a team." Call my friend John, and then I'm like, "You want to do this?" He's like, "All right, one more thing to do, one more hobby." So that's how it got going. Called up friends and friends of friends, and then this is kind of how it came about. So we have guys. We have a guy on our team that's 21, and we have a guy that's 55. So it's all across the ages. It's a nice alternative to slow pitch softball that kind of got tiresome, and this is feels like you're playing ball again.
You guys just kind of missed the game, and here's your chance to kind of reconnect with baseball a little bit.
Of course.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you said your next game's this Saturday. Let's tell everyone again. So it's California School for the Deaf, right? It's your home field.
Yes, this Saturday, the 29th, California School for the Deaf. Just go all the way back, and you'll see the field right there. Free admission. Bring a chair. Bring a probably easy up. It's gonna be hot.
Yeah.
And just enjoy it. Kind of a nice escape from the doldrums of daily life, and come and see us play. We don't say that we're professionals or anything, but but I think you'll be entertained by the pageantry of it all.
You might be impressed by the Dazzler, painting the corners.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. And Chris, what's the social media again for the Smudge Pots?
Yeah, it's on Instagram at Riverside Smudge Pots, and then for the league, it's www.stvbb.com. So that'll give you the game schedule and everything. And then you'll find us on Facebook and Twitter as well.
Is there a world?
That's modern technology. I feel
I know
that stuff. Or on TV,
Follow us
I'm
on
trying
Twitter.
to figure out what's going on right now. All this demonry going on.
What is this talking little moms? But is there a playoff, or is there a World Series, or
There will be playoffs. I think it's top 4 teams make it.
Top 4 out of 5. So.
Yeah.
where you guys
So we're feeling like we're going to slide into that 4th at least. Yeah.
got a fighting chance?
Yeah.
All right, the Riverside Smudge Pots, everybody. Thank you guys for coming on the show. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we're going to turn back the clock one more time.
That's good.
Huzzah.
Johnny, our director's the best. Huzzah! Is that what they
Huzzah.
cheer?
There you go.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
We come back. We'll talk a little high school football in the Inland Empire here on the Inland Sports Show.
This is Alexander Mattison. You're watching the Inland Sports Show.
How you guys doing? Coach Bass here, letting you all know that we will be opening enrollment for the 2019-2020 Boost Alternative School for student athletes in January. Bass is a private school here in Corona, California that emphasizes academic and athletic development for student athlete life as they prepare for high school and college. If you'd like more information regarding our private school, please feel free to reach out to us directly. You can contact us through social media, on Instagram at Boost Training, on Twitter, Boost_Training, or you can contact us here at our gym at 951-532-4904.
We focus on the customer here. Believe it or not, that is the biggest thing for customers on an oil change. They just want the convenience of coming in, driving in, getting it done, and driving out. We just greet them, get them going, and they're done in about 10 minutes or so. We don't push any sales on them. We do the oil change, and I think that's what sets us apart is our customer service. Vacuumed and cleaned your windshield for you as well. Everything's looking pretty good. You come into us one time, believe me, we'll spoil you and you'll be ready to come back the next time.
For a place, a people, an idea, for right and freedom, for liberty and justice for all. For every square inch between fruited plains and spacious skies. Marines fight to win. See all the battles Marines fight to win at marines.com.
The Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Spoiled. Quick, quality oil change. Spoil yourself and your car at Spoiled. Kin Sporting Goods. They have all of your sporting gear needs, Letterman's jackets, and team uniforms. And Boost Performance Training with Coach Ray Bass. Athletes of all levels and all sports are going to Boost Performance Training in Corona.
All right. right, we're back in color.
We are.
Jeff's back, and we got the color back in the studio, the whole thing.
That was cool. That was incredible. In fact,
we went all the way.
I was sitting in the back going, because I'm coaching my 6-year-old. I'm coaching Johnny's t-ball team, and I'm kind of getting in that baseball mood. I was thinking, man, I want to play, but I don't think they could get a uniform made that big for me. But I could hit, man. I don't know if I could do anything else, but I could hit it a country mile.
I just feel bad for the Dazzler, Daniel Favela. He broke his finger already.
Yeah.
Those mitts are barely a mitt. Like, you pull weeds in those.
Look at these things. I'm telling you, I'd be good. I can catch anything. How hard will the baseball?
You don't want to hurt those. You're like a hand model. You don't want to hurt those.
Look, they're soft and supple. I'm telling you, perfect hands.
Thank you again to the Riverside Smudge Pots. That was a lot of fun, and it sounds like their season's kind of wrapping up here. But make sure you follow them on social media and the Vintage Baseball League website as well. But Jeff, as we transition here, our commitment to the Inland Empire is to talk high school football in every single show. And join us now live via Skype is our dear friend Ghizal Hasan, who is deep within the bowels of the Hasan compound, studying up on all the Riverside schools to get ready for the big season of Riverside TV football. How's it going, Ghizal?
Great to see you guys. This is incredible. We got 1886. We got modern technology. That's what makes the present day so great.
I know. They were just talking about playing baseball on artificial turf, and I'm like, you can't do that. You got to play on grass. But anyways, I digress. We're talking high school football. Yourself, Jeff Gorham, the team, the faces of Riverside TV high school football. And Ghizal, we're seeing our very first look at the, we'll say, tentative schedule, because you guys kind of have a flex schedule, right, as the season goes along. But it's pretty close to being solid. The first game, and we won't have to go through all of them, but the first one is at Arlington and Hillcrest. That should be a good one. At least on paper, it's a good one.
Yeah, as you guys know, there's a lot of factors in here. So what we try to do is get every team at least twice, and we made a commitment this year. I think last year some of the viewers noted that there were some games that were runaways or blowouts or whatever you want to say. So we kind of looked at competitive balance this year. So we'd have more competitive games on the on the game of the week. So a couple things though. There's a possibility we may add some games. So right now it's a 13-game schedule. They may add a couple extra with a second broadcast team. That's another possibility. And then obviously going forth in the playoffs. And then if somebody has a great year and Fox decides to pick them up, then we may have to end up changing some games. But, the commitment is to get everybody in the RUSD and Auburn School District in at least twice per season. So you mentioned Arlington Hillcrest to start it off. We had some rivalry games going. I know we're going to do King and Poly again. And a couple other rivalry games. They're going to try to do North and Poly again at the end, and then Norta Vista and Hillcrest, which is kind of a burgeoning rivalry. So there's a bunch of games, and we'll see some teams that we haven't seen in a couple years. We'll see Fontana, I think, play Ramona, and we're trying to get some of the teams. Oh, Great Oak's going to be on the schedule. We haven't had them on the schedule since I started the package back in 2012. So it'll be interesting to see how this year works. And Scott Brocious and the entire staff, they've done a really good job in terms of trying to get this thing rolling. And I think we're going to have some social media support, I've been told, this year as well. So it should be fun. Obviously, Jeff and I will be calling some of the games. Hopefully we can get you out there for a couple games, Pat.
Yeah, I'm licking my chops at that Notre Dame Aquinas game. That's always a fun one.
Oh, there we go. That's another big rivalry game. Big rivalry game, the battle for the Shield.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to, the new look John W. North team. They had a great running back last year, and they're going to play Hemet in that the game 4 that we're covering. And remember, Hemet went pretty darn deep in the playoffs. Semifinals, first time in over 100 years, and they seem to have it going. It's going to be a pretty fun season to definitely cover with you, Ghizal.
Venancio Michaele. Practice the name, Jeff. We're going to be calling his name a lot this year.
Oh, he was phenomenal last year. Remember, he jumped over a kid, did a pirouette, and ran for about 85 yards. And you and I looked at each other, and we were like, holy smokes, this kid is awesome. And I said, how old is he? And you're like, yeah, he's like 15. He's a freshman. Yeah. So we've got 3 more years of that young man.
Yeah, no, all the teams, Poly, North, obviously, We have Arlington back this year. All the River Valley League teams: Ramona, Hillcrest, La Sierra, Norte Vista. Then of course Notre Dame and King. All 9 teams. It looks to be real interesting, and I look forward to it every year. But then we have some new coaches as well this year. John Rice now all of a sudden is at Poly. We have Travis Carter now, the new head coach at Hillcrest. That North Poly game is going to be weird because Dennis Brown, who was the coach at Poly, is now the coach at North, and John Rice, the Shakespearean scholar, who was once the coach at North, is now at Poly. So it's like a soap opera, right? It's like wife swap, and all of a sudden high school football style.
Yeah, we also have John W. North versus Orange Vista.
North has 2 great games.
Oh,
Hemet and Orange
man,
Vista
those are great ones. I can't wait to see those.
And both brothers now are coaching on the Orange Vista staff, so I think they had a great year last year, and I have a feeling Orange Vista is going to be just as good, take a step up this year as well.
Yeah, Eric and Greg Zomalt, man, who built a dynasty at Citrus Hill, are now teaming up at Orange Vista, which they're going to be unbelievable again this upcoming season. Yeah, Ghizal, I'm looking at these games, and I think we're going to have a lot of competitive games on the schedule for Riverside TV throughout the season. Games that could, if they're not deciding league champions, it could be like a playoff spot on the line. So I think you guys did a good job in terms of just selecting good matchups that are going to be really meaningful. You know what I'm talking about? Just meaningful games towards the end of the season.
That was part of the design. I taught, you gave us a lot of help, Pep, so we appreciate that. Jeff Gorham, obviously, you guys know all the coaches, so you kind of have the skinny before anybody else does. And luckily, Scott Brocious, who runs the whole deal, the executive producer, he was cool with it. Obviously, it's disappointing. You love to get Norco in, you love to get Centennial when you have an opportunity. But I think what the goal was this year is let's serve the Riverside audience, the players, the coaches, the parents, and the families of the kids who play ball in the Riverside Unified School District, and let's really promote these Riverside schools and have competitive matchups.
All right, before we wrap this up, can I put you and Jeff both on the spot for a second? Because someone asked me this question, and I hate when they put me in a corner, but they asked me this last year, and I want you guys to apply it to this year. Who is the best team in the city of Riverside going into this season? Let's see if you guys agree. Go ahead, fight amongst yourselves.
I'm going to have to say, because I've seen what's going on, young talent, I'm going to have to go with the Norte Vista.
Of course you would.
I'm going with Novi. I'm going with Ken Batdorf and that giant offensive line that has been building, and you've got the little Freddie Holly younger brother. They're going to be dynamite on defense. I'm going to have to go with Novi.
Novi, look, I liked what Aaron Huerta did at Notre Dame last year, and they did have some seniors leave, but they have a good core of young talent coming back, and I really think they were disappointed. Now, listen, they had a great year. Don't get me, they had a great season, but I do think that loss against San Jacinto, I think they felt they left some stuff on the table in that loss, and they're just going to be so motivated this year to kind of come back and roll through that league and get back to those playoffs and make a run on those playoffs. And he's been at big-time programs. He was at Corona Del Mar. He was at Servite, Coach Huerta meaning, and now he's had his first kind of full off season where he's really been installed as the head coach. And I would think Notre Dame, Norte Vista, I agree with Jeff. They're going to be solid. I think Ramona takes a step forward. They have some big pieces coming back this year as well. And I do think both North and Poly will be vastly improved from last season.
Now, Ghizal, before we go, I know you are the voice of the UC Riverside Highlanders. Some of those guys got drafted in a couple weeks ago, and they're doing some big things.
Dean Miller, 24th round, went to the Boston Red Sox. I know he is signed and ready. I don't think he's played yet. But Connor Cannon was picked in the 17th round by the Giants. He's already homered. He was assigned to the Arizona League team for the Giants in Scottsdale, their rookie league team. First game, hit a 3-run shot in the I think the 7th inning. He broke a tie, and they ended up winning that game. So he started. I have a feeling by probably the middle of this month, maybe the middle of July, he'll get the call up to A ball out of rookie ball. They haven't played first base. I think that's part of the reason they sent him down to rookie ball. They want to see what he can do in the field. But Dean Miller, obviously, with Boston Red Sox, I think is going to be a steal. I was talking with Justin Johnson, one of the assistants, and he felt that Dean, probably got a little bit underdrafted because he didn't have a great junior year, but he had a very good senior year. and Justin believed that the senior year is really more indicative of what kind of a player Dino is. And of course, he's got the name Dino. You got a cool home run call when he hits a home run. But, the Red Sox, obviously, they know what they're doing in the draft. So the fact that he fell to them in such a, middle rounds, they're probably really happy to have him. I don't know where he's going to be assigned as of yet.
Okay, and last thing, I have to ask you this: your favorite Rat Packer?
I gotta go with Dean. Ohio. My sister lives in Ohio now. Dean Martin can sing, and he's a little bit of a sarcastic dude. I do want to point out before we finish, though, 2 Highlanders have made the bump to AA. So Ryan Lilly, who I know you guys are friends, he's a friend of the show from Vista Murrieta.
Oh yeah.
The Reds bumped him up to AA, and then Alex Fagaldi with the Cardinals is at AA. His first 13 innings, guys, 1 earned run. So he's number 1 with a bullet. He's rocketing up through their system. But before I go, I want to ask you guys a question before I go.
Uh-oh.
Galaxy's Edge. I know Jeff's gone.
Have
you gone, Pep? And what are your thoughts? I'm waiting. I guess it opened to the public today or yesterday.
All right, here's my thought.
Uh-oh.
Here it is. Loved it for scenery. Not enough to do. Not enough to do in the land. But if they open more rides, it will be fantastic. But we walked around, and it was kind of, it was cool and nostalgic, but I wanted to see more Darth Vader. No Darth Vader. I like old school Star Wars.
Spoiler alert.
It was pretty good, but not great.
It's a shame.
But yes, and I will say.
Always great to talk to you. Sorry.
I was going to tell you this. Sammy is my favorite, by the way.
Yeah, Sammy's solid, solid. I'm not good looking enough to be Peter Lawford, but I like Dino is very functional,
Ghizal, thank you for the time, brother. Before you know it, football season will be here. Catch Ghizal Hasan and Jeff Gorham all season long on Riverside TV. Thank you, Ghizal.
All right, gentlemen.
All right. If you ask me, I'd probably pick Notre Dame as the best team in the city of Riverside going into the season. But if Bill Powell makes me a peach cobbler, I'll go with Riverside Pauly.
I can
be swayed by food, so it's that easy.
I don't know if I can be swayed by food anymore unless it's
you
water.
Look good.
Unless it's water or greens.
All right, we come back. We're going to take you out to Damontae Kazee's football camp and hear from a bunch of local NFL stars for the Vikings, the Packers, and the Atlanta Falcons when we come back on the Inland Sports Show.
The Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Spoiled. Quick, quality oil change. Spoil yourself and your car at Spoiled. Kin Sporting Goods. They have all of your sporting gear needs, Letterman's jackets, and team uniforms. And Boost Performance Training with Coach Ray Bass. Athletes of all levels and all sports are going to Boost Performance Training in Corona.
Thank God, first of all. I thank the great people that I've got around me that help support me, the people that work for me. As I started, if it wasn't for the people around me, we probably wouldn't be here right now, but I've got a great staff. I've got great people that do stuff for us outside the store, and we've been very, very fortunate. Our service is impeccable, and we just keep trying to get better every year. We can do online stuff for your teams, as well as, like I said, the screen printing, the embroidery. We also have 3 women that do extra sewing for us, like tackle tool on uniforms, or the bling or rhinestones for different shirts for the ladies. That's why we have certain racks just for certain schools, and the fun about that is that it turns into other schools that may come in here that aren't as close, that we can do stuff for them as well. We've had very, very good customers throughout the years, and it's just been a blast.
We develop quality citizens who keep our core, our country, and our communities side by side on the winning side. Not for glory, but for honor. For a code that isn't written or spoken, but lived. It's what we do. It's who we are. It's the battle cry of our fighting spirit. Battles won. See all the battles Marines fight to win at marines.com.
How you guys doing? Coach Bass here with Boost Training. We're here at the BPC and it's summertime. We have another Boost Training tip for you. This tip goes out to all the football players who spent the entire offseason getting strong, putting on weight, getting bigger. Now it's time to make that sports specific and turn it into power. So these next few tips are going to show you exactly how to do that. Let's check it out. Okay, so our first tip of the day is what's called a depth jump. And this is a great drill to turn strength into power that you want to hit as you start getting closer to the season for an off-season football player. So what Cruz is going to do, he's going to take a quick step off the box. He's going to hit the ground as quickly as possible, get up, elevate, and he's going to land on the higher set of boxes here. All right, he's going to have his hips flexed, arms extended. He's going to hold that for a second. He's going to step back down. Here we go, Cruz. Let's hit it. Get up. Nice. Wants to hold that position for a second. Take a nice and easy step down. Depth jump, great drill to maximize power. There you have it. Now, we just showed you guys a depth jump. Now, one of the things that you can do to progress that and really take it to the next level, you can either elevate the 18-inch box here, all right, or we can elevate the landing box, all right? And remember, the goal here is to minimize ground contact and have a great counter movement, meaning when we hit the ground, we want to bring our arms through, all right? So just one of the things that you can do to make this more difficult and to maximize all those power gains. So that's our Boost Training tip of the day. Thanks for checking us out again. And make sure you stay up to date with everything that's Boost. Check our schedules, check our videos at our website at www.boosttrainingsystems.com. Check out our Twitter at Boost_training and our Instagram at Boost Training. Grind hard, stay solid.
This is Kenny Clark from the Green Bay Packers, and you're watching the Inland Sports Show.
My favorite NFL player of all time, Kenny Clark.
He's the toughest human being I've ever seen.
I just don't want to get beat up. No, he's the nicest guy.
He is, but I always mess with him. Every time we talk to him, I'd make jabs at him to see if he gets mad. He never gets mad, but he's the only guy, and I have giant hands. He's the only guy I can't physically put my hands around his neck because his neck is it's as big as my shoulders.
People forget he was a wrestler at Carver High School. He was a stud wrestler. Can you imagine wrestling that guy?
No, I want to see when he's done playing football, get him into some MMA fighting because I don't think you can hurt that guy. No. You could take a club, anything, a jackhammer, and it would not affect that guy. He is the toughest human being I've ever seen.
And that's why we love him. Kenny Clark has his camp coming up. We're going to get that in a second. But we are at the Damontae Kazee camp this past Saturday at Cajon High School. Kazee led the NFL in interceptions. There he is this past season. He had the co-lead with 7 interceptions during the regular season. He came back to Cajon High School. It's always good to see the guys who come back to the IE.
Yeah.
They have camps, they give back, they do these charity events. That's what it's all about. And that's why we love to give these guys so much attention on our show because they do these things. But Damontae Kazee at his camp, and it wasn't just him. He brought everybody back, including his teammate now who's going to be Kenjon Barner. Kenjon Barner out of Notre Dame High School in Riverside just signed with the Atlanta Falcons. So now Kazee and Barner are teammates. And Jeff, we were talking off air about this. Kenjon Barner just made huge headlines over all the big national media outlets because he got a Super Bowl ring with the Patriots.
He's got 2 Super Bowl rings, and that's good. If you are the Atlanta Falcons, you got to be happy thinking, this guy's got 2 in a row.
He's the good luck charm.
He is a good luck charm. Let's see if the Falcons and Kenjon Barner can bring a Super Bowl their way.
So Barner won a Super Bowl ring with the Eagles. Then he got one with the Patriots, even though he wasn't on the team during the playoffs in the Super Bowl. But the Patriots, classy move. Think whatever you want to say about New England, but a classy move to give Kenjon Barner a Super Bowl ring anyway. So he's been making national headlines, but we got the exclusive interview right here, right now on Inland Sports. Here's Kenjon Barner.
Inland Sports.
Yeah, man, Kazee a good dude. He's a competitor. Watching film and all, I used to watch him all the time when he was playing gunner. He's a little bit of a killer out there, so to be on the same side of him, I'm real happy about that.
Never heard of it. Never heard of it.
I went to UW.
That's big, bro.
Sorry, UW. Yo, we ducks over here.
Now, recently you made headlines because you gave your dad a Super Bowl ring, right? Got some love on social media. Talk about that.
It wasn't really about social media, man. It really ain't about that at all. You know what I'm saying? My dad just sacrificed a lot. My dad has been, along with the rest of my family, the biggest supporters in my life. My dad has been to every practice, every game, everything you could think of, you know what I'm saying? And so for me, my dad set the tone for me. So anytime I can give him something that means something to him, I'm always going to do it.
When you look back on the last couple of seasons, you got a Super Bowl ring with the Eagles. Now you got one with the New England Patriots. I mean, has it just kind of been a dream so far?
Honestly, it hasn't even set in, man. The other day when me and my dad was looking at him, I was like, 2. You think about the list of guys that have played this game for a number of years, the greats that have played this game for a number of years, and some have never made the playoffs, never went to a Super Bowl, and definitely never won one. So for me to be in that position, very blessed, very fortunate, thankful to God for it.
How about the fact now you go to Atlanta team that on paper, man, you guys got a lot of great talent, a lot of great players. Are you excited about this upcoming season?
Absolutely. Like you said, it's on paper. You know what I'm saying? We got to go to work. We got to grind. Training camp coming up here real soon. It's the time to continue to build. We've already started the building process, but we have to continue to build, continue to grow together, come together as a team and as a family unit, and put the rest on the gridiron come game time.
And finally, Kenjon, you were one of the headlines on CBS Sports the other day because I guess you didn't know you were going to get a ring from the Patriots. Was that completely out of the blue?
They reached out to me a little while ago, but I definitely didn't know. I definitely wasn't expecting one. Got the call, talked to him, and was, like I said, humbled and all. A lot of different things because I didn't finish the year with them, so it's definitely something that they didn't have to do that I know of. I don't think they had to do it, so for them to do that really means a lot. I'm very appreciative of Coach Belichick, Josh, Ivan, Mr. Kraft, and the rest of the family, for really doing that. That was huge.
Sports.
Kenjon Barner, everybody. In fact, he's going to have his own camp in Moreno Valley in a couple weeks. I want to say it's July 13th. Coach Pete Garza hit me up. He's going to get me more information, a flyer, so we'll make sure we pass that along as on the show as we get closer to it. So another reason to follow us on social media. Coming up this Sunday, and I think we got a graphic for it as well, we got Kenny Clark. Kenny Clark's football camp is coming up this Sunday at Carter High School in Rialto. There it is. I'm going to be headed out there. We've gone out there before for his camp, and again, one of the real good guys who gives back. Jeff, we hype up the camp, but he gives back in a lot of different ways, especially during the holidays around Thanksgiving and Christmas. This guy does a lot.
One of the best human beings on the planet, Kenny Clark.
All right, we also had a chance to catch up with Kenny at the Kazee camp to talk about his own camp coming up this Sunday at Carter High School. Here's Kenny Clark.
Sports.
Just a good day. Just to bring the community out and just to have fun. We out here at Kazee's camp and just supporting the kids and just supporting him. And then my camp is next week, so it's gonna be a good time. It's always good to come back and support your community. And then just being here with these guys. We don't get a chance to see each other a lot because of the season and the stuff we're doing in all season. So when we get a chance to actually come here and chill with each other and hang out, it's fun. It's pretty fun. It's going real good. I had a really good OTAs. I did my thing, and I'm just excited. Excited about the season, excited about our direction. So we got a new head coach, and it's gonna be a good year for the Green Bay Packers.
Sports.
And Jeff, let's squeeze in one more interview from the Kazee camp, a guy who's done our show a bunch of times, Alexander Mattison, who was just drafted by the Minnesota Vikings, went through some OTA, some mini camps with them already as he gets ready for his first NFL season. Man, every time I see him, he's just bigger and stronger.
He's a stud. That blue turf helped him. He's going to be a big-time NFL player.
All right, here is Alexander Mattison.
Sports.
It's been amazing. It's been a great time learning from the vets and getting in there and just being a part of an awesome team. From the coaching staff to the players, it's amazing the culture that's established there and the bond that we're trying to build and continue to grow. It's an amazing feeling, and I know that there's something special there. I haven't been a part of it much longer than a lot of the guys that kind of came in this year, and then the coaching staff, the new changes. So it's all kind of a new feeling for everybody, and everyone's saying the same thing. So I'm glad that I'm able to be in there with those guys, and it's going smooth right now.
Sports.
Big thanks to Alex and Kenny and Kenjon for those interviews. We have a complete recap, including Damontae Kazee, right now on IEMG, the IE Media Group YouTube channel. We'll see you Sunday at the Kenny Clark Camp at Carter High School. Big thanks to Teen Vision TV 16.
The best.
We pump them full of coffee, and they're just excited and ready to go.
Yeah, they're not going to go to sleep tonight.
Also, thanks to Ghizal Hasan, the voice of Riverside TV football, and, of course, UC Riverside baseball. And the Riverside Smudge Pots were in the house.
Awesome. I'm going to go play some baseball.
We'll see you next week on the Inland Sports Show.